Hey, this is Matthew Riddle, the King of Bros, and you're watching the BWF podcast.
Wrestling fans, we are joined by a very special guest today. You know his uncle, the late, great Dynamite Kid. He is one half of the Billington Bulldogs tag team, Mark Billington. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Mark, we're going to talk about a few things today, but I have to start with the burning question that's on everybody's mind. And that is, did you get a chance to score Oasis tickets before they sold out?
I didn't. I tried, but I couldn't get any.
Yeah, as mentioned, man, you are part of wrestling royalty, you know, being the nephew of Dynamite. Was it hard for you growing up as a kid knowing who your uncle was, with people knowing who your uncle was, or did people tend to gravitate towards you more, and did you have lots of friends?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like hard knowing people knowing who he was. It was quite like heartwarming because a lot of people like bigged him up, especially in the wrestling world, and a lot of like friends wise around our area, especially who knew him, had nothing but good things to say about him. But in terms of wrestling legacy, where me and Thomas, we kind of went on our own path, which a lot of people will say, well, you've still got the name, but in our eyes, we did our own path, and a lot of people accepted that.
That's great. That's awesome. Did you know that wrestling was something that you always wanted to do? I mean, just because you're part of a wrestling family doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be a wrestler. So was it always something on your back of your mind, or?
Well, from Tom being 4 and me being 2, we had a little red crash mat, and we'd just start wrestling on that. Not even just practicing moves and stuff like that. And my dad would watch all the old wrestling tapes and stuff like that, DVDs. And me and Tom would kind of just sit there taking things in. So once it had been on, me and Tom would go in the back garden on the red mat, and Tom would be giving me snap suplexes, German suplexes, and we had 2 little like stools that you could go up, and he'd give me suplexes off there, and it was just we'd jump off 10-foot walls and just dive on each other, and that's when we knew we wanted to do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You were trained by the great Marty Jones, and he trained such people as William Regal and Joe Hendry. How did that come about, and what did your typical training day look like?
Well, Tom was talking to my dad when he was leaving school. He left school at 16, and he kept going to me dad like, I want to go train wrestling, and my dad was like, I'll take you next week. And he kept putting it off because he didn't want like us getting hurt or anything, so he kept putting it off. And one day when Tom had finished school, he come put his head around the door to my dad, and he just said, like, can we go? You've been saying for weeks we can go, and you've not taken me. So he went. He started training, and he was loving it. He used to get 3 buses up, even when it was like raining, hailstone, and snow, anything. He'd go down, like. And then I went watching, and I thought, you know what? It looks really hard, this, but I'd love to give it a go. And I went down with him, and Tom originally was going to just be a singles wrestler.
Okay.
But I went down, and we was told, like, well, you've both naturally got it, so why not double it and then make a tag team out of it, and you can become something great. That's just how it all started. It was more Tom wanting to go so bad because I was playing football, or in your case, soccer.
Yeah.
And I was gonna like sign for a big club over here, and then I saw wrestling. I was like, no, I've got to do this. Like we've been doing this since 4 and 2. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable, yeah. You can't deny your destiny, right? What's some advice that Marty gave you that you can pass on to others?
The first thing he said to us was stay humble. Never let anything get to your head. Remember where you come from, and always keep people who was there for you at the beginning with you till the end.
Nice. Great advice. In the ring, you're really crisp, clean. Everything looks great, including that moonsault off the top rope.
And as a group collects on the outside.
And even though you have like a smaller frame, you actually use that to your advantage. The way you sell, it just makes it seem like the opponent this makes it seem like everything the opponent does, it legit hurts you. And it's great because it seems like that's a lost art these days.
Yeah.
But this brings me to my question. It seems like the other half of your tag team, Tommy, he patterns himself after your uncle and Owen Hart. Who are some of your influences?
See, I've been asked this a lot, and I've never been able to give an answer because with Thomas, he's strong. He's a bit smaller than me. He's strong. He's got a bigger frame, and he's a lot faster. So obviously, he's got an advantage to where you can use other people's styles as well. Where I've kind of had to use my own and bring it in with Tom's at the same time. So I've not really been able to look up to anyone essentially. But if I was going to, I watched a lot of Tiger Mask and on DVDs and stuff like that, and that worked for me as well. So mixing obviously Dynamite and Tiger Mask in a tag team with what me and Tom will do, it works wonders.
You've been pretty successful, though, on the independent scene so far. You've been all over Europe. You've wrestled in the United States. You've been all over Western Canada, including here in Alberta. You've even wrestled the grandson of Giant Haystacks, which is a great match, by the way. That suplex brainbuster thing you gave him, that looked awesome.
Big moment. He's got the big man off his feet. Is he going back to that suplex? Wow! He hit that huge suplex.
What's the main difference between being on the road in the UK and being on the road in North America?
The difference, I'd say, is you're not really on the road when you're not in the UK. You're doing a lot of flights, so you're a lot more tired. You're not getting as much sleep, especially. So you've just kind of got to manage how you're going about things. But in the UK, if you're going from where I am to London, it's 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
So the opposite of the UK. Whereas if you're going up north, it's the same. But if you're going from Calgary to Edmonton, it's 3 hours, and you're not even out of Alberta. So it's a massive difference.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Do you have any favorite road stories?
There's one that we had. My dad, this was early, into our wrestling, and we was driving in the UK. Was all tired, and I don't know what it wasn't. To us, it was hilarious, but to other people, it might not be. It was dead quiet, and my dad was sat in the back, and the person who was driving was his head were bobbing, and my dad's just he just shouted really loud and made everyone jump, and then he's just started putting on 80s rave music.
Oh no!
In all that, and it just got us all it woke us all up, but we found it hilarious at the time because it was all our heads were going like that. We didn't know what, and we were still 2 hours away from home, and all of a sudden he's just shouted and started playing rave music. It was mad.
Little party in the car. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loved it. He'd come to all our shows. He'd sit at the back of the room. He wouldn't let anyone know see him. He'd just get his phone out, video everything, and he'd love it. But since he passed, we've had to kind of progress to other countries. So, hopefully he'd be proud of us.
Oh, I'm sure he would. Do you or Tommy have a pre-match ritual, and what are some of the more unusual ones that you've seen?
No, not really. We don't have any special. I mean, mine is I have to go to McDonald's. I always have to eat something beforehand. Where Tommy's not really. He's quite chill. But I've not seen any unusual ones, to be honest. What you'd expect. I just see a lot of people that we've been around. They're just quite chill and they just talk to each other, and it's just a good vibe.
Okay, that's good. Do you have any favorite Dynamite Kid stories?
Dynamite Kid stories?
Yes, sir.
Oof. I think the main one for us was when he was watching one of Tom's video, and it's not a big story, and but it's one that will stay close to us, where Tom was with him, and Tom was showing him his wrestling videos, and he just said to Tom, he just looked up at Tom and he just said, "You'll do it. You'll do everything you want to do," and that's just something that's one of our stories with him because we didn't get to see him wrestle.
So, right, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the closest one to us is when he's basically told Tom, like, you'll do it, you'll make it, and you'll make a name for yourself by yourself.
That must be some great motivation, just to think back. Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of motivation, though, Tommy, he just recently made his AEW debut. Does that give you extra motivation? And what are your goals in professional wrestling?
It does, because we went watching him. Me and my girlfriend went watching him in Wembley with my mum and people like that. We went watching him at Wembley, and I've not wrestled properly now since December because I got a shoulder injury. So I didn't wrestle for a while, and I went. And as soon as I went and seen it, I was like, I've got to go back. I can't not. Tom's doing this now, and I know I can. So the sooner I get back, the sooner not only can I progress, but I can reunite with my brother again and get in the ring together. So as far as where do I want to go with wrestling, wherever it takes me, as high as it can take me.
Nice. Sorry to hear about your shoulder injury. Just to go back on that for a second. Did that happen against the Veros twins in Calgary by chance? Yeah.
This time it's Chris with a flying double cross body block.
Okay. So I was watching that match and I was like, man, he's out there selling like a madman, or he's actually legit hurt.
Yeah,
And,
no.
oh man, I'm sorry to hear, but yes, get your shoulder back, back into where it needs to be. Get back on the circuit, because you got a lot of fans, man, and everybody's cheering for you. I know that everybody wants to see you succeed. But speaking of your fans, what people may or may not know is that you had a little bit of a boxing career. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So as my shoulder was healing, I decided, because I didn't have much confidence going back to wrestling, and I was like, I need something to strengthen my shoulder. So I decided I was gonna do some boxing. It was just to strengthen my shoulder at first, and then I got a fight and I won it. And I trained hard, I got in good shape for it, and my shoulder felt great. And yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, but once you do it, you don't want to stop. But when you've got something like wrestling as well, you've got to pick and choose. You've got to go with your heart in the end.
Absolutely. As a fan, are there any matches that you like to go back and watch? Any of your favorite matches?
See, I don't really watch wrestling to the point where I'd say I've got a favorite match. Well, I'd watch it just to pick things up and, like the little things that make a big difference. So in terms of, have I got a favorite match? Probably not, but I've picked up a lot of stuff from matches that I have watched.
And if there's somebody out there who hasn't seen much of your work or any of your work, what is the match that you would suggest that they watch? What is your personal favorite?
My favorite would be the tag match in Seattle against the Bollywood Boys at Defy.
Last takes out Mark. Last I checked. Curve on the apron. Running knee.
That was my favorite one because it had everything that we thought would bring the crowd up. The crowd, obviously, were English. The crowd hated us, but that's the thing about wrestling. You can play to it, and you can rally them, and you can make them hate you more, or you can make them like you. But we decided we just want them to hate us more.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the best. I think that's our best one.
That is a great match. So how far away are you now, do you think, from your shoulder to being actually returning to the ring? Like, what's next for Mark Billington?
Well, actually, I've got a show coming up in not this weekend, next weekend. It's a little promotion called Livewire. It's about an hour away from me, and that's where I'll be making my return, getting back in the ring, and then hopefully, and call it 2-3 months, I'll get back to Calgary and I'll get back to where I was.
Awesome. Can't wait to see it. And everybody from here at the BWF Wrestling Podcast wishes you nothing but the best in your future success. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time here today to talk with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been Mark Billington, one half of the Billington Bulldogs. Thank you for watching BWF.
Awesome. Take it easy. Cheers.
Thank you.